Hey guys, how you doing? Okay, so I shot this video earlier. Unfortunately, I did get interrupted halfway through the video, so I have unwrapped some of the packages that I had that came this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you everything I've picked up so far this week, and a couple of little things which I'm really happy with. Basically, recently my good friend BlueTonic78 has been buying Amiga games. He got an Amiga 2000, which is a system I've never heard of myself personally. I know there were a lot of different Amigas at the time, but I've never heard of the 2000, so I found that quite interesting. And after watching Alex's videos recently, it really got me hyped for the Amiga again. And I went onto YouTube and eBay, and you know, I've just got to be honest with you, I'm getting really nostalgic about the Amiga. It's one of those systems that just meant so much to me as a kid growing up. It was a really important part of my gaming history. And after watching loads of videos on YouTube, gameplays, history of Amiga and Commodore videos, they're just absolutely fantastic. And just looking at the A500 just brings back so many memories. And I was looking at games like Xenon, Speedball, Monkey Island, and just thinking, my God, you know, it really took me back. It's probably the most nostalgic I've got for any system. And you know, as you can see, I love the Super Nintendo, but the Amiga really has got a special place in my heart. I mean, it's just one of those fantastic computers of the time, and yeah, it means a hell of a lot to me. And so what happened was, because of that, I ended up looking on eBay, dangerous as it is, and I found that most of the games are quite cheap to buy. They're pretty reasonably priced for a lot of the games that I really love. You know, games like Lemmings, for instance, which is just an absolute classic. I love that game. And so I've decided I'm going to pick up an Amiga A500. But, I mean, I don't know when yet, it depends. They're not that expensive. You can get one for about 30 quid. They're usually yellow. That's the biggest problem. The plastic's really crappy. So I might respray one. I know it's pretty sacrilege to Amiga collectors, and I do apologise, but I just don't like yellow computers that look shit. But if not, I can find one that's not as yellow and is a little bit whiter or creamier, then that's cool. But if not, I'll just respray it, I ain't bothered. But the problem I've got is, I mean, you buy the computer and that's like £30–35 for a decent one, buy now, plus shipping. I've got my iron one at the moment, which is like 30 quid plus £10 shipping, so that's 40. Then you've got the SCART cable, which is going to be another £13.99, so that's another 14 quid, so that's 54 quid. Then I've got to get the joystick, and I want to get the Conic Speaking, because that's my favourite. Alex BlueTonic, he's a big fan of the Zip Stick, I'm a big fan of the Conic Speaking. That's just an absolute gem, and that really takes me way back. That was and then of course I also want to get an external disk drive as well, because certain games have more than one disc, and games like Monkey Island 2, which has 12 discs, it's better to have the external, so you can put a disc in the Amiga, a disc in the external, cuts down on the loading times and the disc swap. So yeah, I mean, so there's all these extra bits that you need to buy. Oh, and there's another thing. Most of the Amigas on eBay at the moment, the cheap ones, don't have the half meg upgrade. So I need to buy a half megabyte upgrade as well to get the 1 meg to play some games. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but whatever, I'll get there eventually. Anyway guys, so the last few days I've picked up my first couple of games for my Amiga collection. Now obviously it's not a collection yet because I've only got a couple of games, but I'm hoping to build a substantially decent Amiga collection. I'm not going to go like mental and go full collection and all that sort of thing. I just want to pick up all the games that I had as a kid that I really enjoyed and have a lot of nostalgia for me. And I might even look at some of the games I've never played and look interesting. I mean, I've got a pretty decent list written out already of games that I need to buy, and so that's going to keep me busy. But yeah, I really can't wait to get an Amiga. And so the first game I got was a true classic, and I think anyone who likes the Amiga will love this game. There's a bit of cardboard on the floor there, sorry about that. Right, first game I got is Rainbow Islands. Absolute classic. And look at the artwork. That's the one thing I've noticed about Amiga games. Amiga games have really great artwork, and most Western games on most Western consoles have pretty crappy artwork, but I really like it. It's really bright, colourful. It's just nice design. And there's the back. And I'll just show you inside. I love these cardboard boxes as well, they're brilliant. And you've got the instruction manual, which is basically a piece of paper. It's hardly anything to it, it's really thin. And the disc. And one of these really cool ocean bags, which that's proper nostalgia, that is. It's classic. God, I really miss the Amiga 500. Such a great computer. But yeah, Rainbow Islands, I really cannot wait to get the computer and try this out. Classic. I was looking at some gameplay of this last night on YouTube, and it's just like, wow, it takes me so far back, it's just amazing. Next one I got is a shooter, which is a shooter that stuck with me ever since I had an Amiga. And one of the games I played near the end of the Amiga's lifespan. I don't know when the game came out, I just remember playing it right at the end for some reason. And it's just a game that's really stuck with me, and I've always wanted to get again. And it's an absolute brilliant shooter. It's called Project X by Team 17. It's a hard as nail shooter, it's a right bitch, but I really like it. It was a really fun game back in the day. Had some cracking speech as well. Black and white manual, which is a bit shit, but there you go. And it's got the floppies in there, and there's a triple disc job, this one, so you've got 3 discs there. Which is, yeah, it's alright. 1993 that came out, bloody hell. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Project X. I was never any good at it because it was too hard, but I'm really looking forward to playing it and trying to get further. Next up is a fantastic one. I was so chuffed to find this. It was just absolutely awesome. Basically, there's 2 games I always talk about on my channel when I talk about the Commodore 64, and I managed to get one of those games for the Amiga. I didn't realise that both of them had been released on the Amiga as well. So because it was such a long time ago, I'm never too certain if I played them on both systems or played one game on one system, one game on another system. I don't know. Now, I've always wanted to get a Commodore 64. However, the Commodore 64, as if you know anything about the system, is going to be a pain in the arse to have as a retro system because you have to load some tapes, and they were notoriously crap back in the 80s. They used to drive me crazy. You know, you constantly be trying to load a game, and then literally about a minute before the end of loading, the game would crash, and you'd have to start again, and you'd have to mess with the heads, and it's murder. So I don't want to go back to the Commodore 64. So the next best thing is to, you know, buy the games on the Amiga if they were released, and luckily this was. Now I looked on eBay, there were no copies at all for sale. I looked at retrogames.co.uk, they didn't have it. So I did a Google for Amiga sellers, and there was a company called Retro Scene who I used about 4 or 5 years ago, a long time ago. I used them once only, and they were great. I never had a problem with them, so I knew that they would be okay to use. Had a quick scan for the games, and this pops up, and this was £9, which I was really chuffed and all that the price was good, and I had to grab it. And it is another shooter, and it's a game called ArmaLite by Thalamus. It's just, yeah, this to me is proper nostalgia. This is a classic. Whether it still plays as well, I don't know, but back in the day, this was the nuts. I loved this game. As I say, I'm never too sure if I played this on both the 64 and the Amiga, or just one of the 2. I'm hoping that, I'm assuming that the Amiga version is going to be superior, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is just because it's 16-bit and it's got funkier graphics and better audio. But I mean, either way, I'm just grateful to have it in my collection. And I found out the other day that Hawkeye was also released on 16-bit Amiga, which is really, really impressive because that game, massive nostalgia trip for that. The Commodore 64 version was amazing, so if I ever find a copy for the Amiga, I'm definitely buying that. And it's got another crappy black and white manual, which is, at least it's got a picture of the ship, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's still a black and white manual, so whatever. And there's, how many discs for this? There's a double disc one, this is. Those 3.5-inch floppies. Oh, classic. Jesus, man, it takes me way back. I remember I used to have shitloads of these back in the days. I'm sure most people did it who had an Amiga. Or even an ST for that, man. You guys would have had loads as well. But yeah, I'm really, really chuffed to have got these back in the collection. So, back in the collection like I've ever had them. Not since the bleeding 80s or 90s, whenever they came out. But yeah, absolutely spot on. So I now have a box copy of ArmaLite, which is brilliant. And with Amiga games as well, I want to get ones that like this, all the big massive boxes. I don't want none of those. They were released, there was the Kicks ones and there was the Hit Squad ones, which are basically like your Platinum releases, which are just crap. And like everybody on YouTube, I hate Platinum release games. They look terrible, the artwork looks terrible, they just butcher the boxes. So I'm determined to get the original black label versions of Amiga games if I can. Right, now I've got another game which is absolutely brilliant, and I got this for a cracking price. Basically, it's a game that I had when I first started on YouTube for a system which I didn't own at the time. I got the system, I think it was last year, and if you watch my channel for that long length of time, you'll know that I got the system, had a hell of a lot of problems getting it to read discs, and in the end I just got frustrated, gave up and sold everything because I got really annoyed. However, recently I picked up a Model 2 of that system, because I had the Model 1 that wouldn't work. And the Model 2 I've got works perfectly, which is brilliant. So I had to pick this up, and this came from a UK seller, which was great. It saved me importing it and paying more than I would expect to. And it is Final Fight CD for the Sega CD. And there you go. Absolutely spot on. It's in alright condition. It's not perfect by any means, but the price was good, so I thought, why not? There you go, instruction manual with afterburners on the back. Now to me, this is, you know, always been considered to be the best home port of Final Fight, and Final Fight is way up there. It's one of 2 of my favourite arcade games, along with Operation Wolf. It really sticks in my mind. I played this to death as a kid, so I always remember this version being the best. It's got all the characters, all the levels, everything. It's got fantastic audio, There's the CD. I haven't checked the CD actually, see if it's any good, see what the condition is. It's a little bit scratched up, to be honest, but I mean that's okay. You know, you got to expect that CDs, and it's rare that you're lucky enough to get one that's mint, but it's alright. It'll play. But yeah, I mean basically I got it for a great price as well, so I'm quite happy. What happened was the guy was selling it buy now at £30, or it was also an auction, and starting bid was opening bid sorry was £20, and it was on there. I watched it for a couple of days, and then I said to the guy, I said, you know, no one's bidding on it. Would you take £20 for it? So he wrote back and he went, well, I'll take 25. And I went, okay, well, you meet me in the middle, 23 quid. And I didn't hear off him for a couple of hours, and I thought, oh, maybe he's think I'm taking the piss and he's just ignoring me. But luckily, the day after, he emailed me back and said, yeah, okay, no problem, £23. So yeah, so I've got Final Fight CD for 23 quid, which is great. I mean, looking on American eBay, and the prices on there are quite high, and a lot of them are in pretty crappy condition. They're in worse condition than that one. So I'm really happy to have got that for 23 quid. So yeah, brilliant. So there you go, guys. So I will be picking up more Amiga games, and I will eventually be getting an Amiga 500. Don't know when. It depends if I can find the right deal. I mean, to be honest, the one I'm looking at is the right deal, but I can't justify the money at this moment. So, you know, fingers crossed. There's no rush because always on there, there's always tons of them on eBay, so I'm quite happy to wait. And I'm definitely getting the 500. I don't like the 600 because it's got no numerical keypad, if I remember rightly. It was like a shortened down piece of crap. I hated the 600. And the 500 Plus, I never liked that because it had the purple screen for the load up, and I hated that. Plus, I've been reading as well that apparently the 500 Plus had Kickstart 2, unlike the 500 which had Kickstart 1.3. And so some of the games from the 500 didn't work on the 500 Plus, and you had to get some software or something to make them work. And I was like, I don't want that crap. I just want to buy a 500, get the games, bang the games in, done. I know a lot of people prefer the 1200, but it's never been anything. So it's not nostalgic to me. The 500 is the system that I had as a kid, and it's the one that means the most. So yeah, the Amiga 500, I can't wait. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's of interest, and I'd love to hear your comments about Amiga as well. If anyone, you know, is nostalgic themselves for the system, and you know what games are games that stick in your mind from back in the day. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all again soon.